Hello, BookTube. I have a neat tag today. I was tagged by Adam at Memento Mori. Thank you very much, Adam. It's the mid-year Bookish Freakout tag. I guess the title is supposed to be we suddenly realize this is the middle of the year and we've got so much reading to do, which I certainly feel. And it's just a dozen or so questions, so let's get right into it here. But I should warn you ahead of time. Well, you already know it if you're watching this channel. I am deep into the world of new release books and forthcoming books. So this video is going to involve a little bit of shop talk. if you all hated that, you wouldn't be here. So just to warn you, this tag is actually right up my alley. So anyway, question number one: best book you've read so far in 2016, and of course, with all BookTube questions, this just implicitly means fiction. But I'm going to split it fiction and nonfiction. And for nonfiction, I have pictures here on my iPad because I can't put them on the machine. For nonfiction, I'm afraid my candidate is what you already know. So it still is unchallenged. Ingratitude by Jenny Diskey. This is her posthumous memoir of having cancer, and has yet to be rivaled nonfiction-wise of anything that I've read so far. Could be. There's a lot of nonfiction still to come, but it hasn't yet. And for fiction, it would be this. It came up on this channel before as something I got in the mail, but then I read it. It's Underground Airlines by Ben Winters. It's a novel set in a world in which the American Civil War never happened, and slavery still exists as an institution in a kernel of the United States, 4 states called the Hard Four. And the author does a fantastic job. It's not only thrilling and page-turning, it's also incredibly thought-provoking and disturbing. So just everything I wanted. So far, that's it. But there's a lot of fiction still to come, too. And fiction tends to shift around a lot more for me than nonfiction. So I'll be checking back. Let's see here. Question number 2. Best sequel you've read so far in 2016. Of course, you all know what that is. It's oh no, I don't have the picture. Well, it's Meg. Fortunately, I have the book. It's Meg, Night Stalkers. Of course, that's the best sequel I've read so far this year. Best sequel I've read in quite some time. Let's see here. Question number 3. A new release you haven't read yet but want to. And there is one. It's on my shelf, and I know it's out in bookstores because I saw it, but I still haven't got to it. And it's this. It's Black Widow by Daniel Silva, a thriller writer, an international espionage thriller writer that I actually very much like. He's not as dumb as his peers. Not that would be saying much. He's actually quite good, and boy, does he have a way with action sequences, which is a sweet tooth of mine and difficult to do well. Let's see here. Question number 4. Most anticipated new release of the second half of the year. For me, that's quite a few. I'm anticipating quite a few. I had a hard time narrowing this down. I narrowed it down to a few. I want to read Here I Am by Jonathan Safran Foer. I haven't done it yet. I don't know if it's in bookstores yet. I don't think it is. I think it comes out later in the summer. He annoys me, but his talent tremendously impresses me, and I have good vibes about this book, and just haven't got to it yet. But there's also, here, I've got another one here. There's, from the Belknap Press of Harvard University Press, there's the annotated Mansfield Park, the last of their annotated Jane Austen volumes. Can't wait. Those volumes have won me over. They're so good. And also, this is another one, oh my, I am so eager for this. The Glass Universe by Dava Sobel, the author of Longitude. This is the story, the subtitle is How the Ladies of the Harvard Observatory Took the Measure of the Stars. Now, I know a couple of these stories, but this book has never been written before. This subject has never been given the great, rousing, popular book that it deserves, and I bet this will be it. I can't wait. Can't wait to get to it. But my most anticipated book of the rest of the year is this. The Emoji Pride and Prejudice. By Jane Austen, sent from my iPhone. This is Pride and Prejudice told in text and emojis. So like any thinking person, I'm eager to see it. This original is so boring. Number 5, the biggest disappointment. For me, in nonfiction, that would be this. Charles Moore's, the second volume of Charles Moore's authorized biography of Margaret Thatcher, which Moore is capable of better work than this book. I don't understand it. It reads not only like an authorized biography, but like a supervised, dutiful authorized biography, when not only is the Iron Lady dead, but she notoriously didn't care about the punctilios of whether or not biographers were being courteous to her. So I don't understand why this thing doesn't throw more elbows, but it ended up boring me, which a book on Margaret Thatcher certainly should not do. And then for fiction, let me see if I've got a picture. Yeah. How to Set a Fire and Why by Jesse Ball, which I admit I went into it with mixed expectations. His enfant terrible act is wearing a little thin with me, but he has tremendous amounts of talent, and I just expected this thing to cohere, and it didn't for me. And then question number 6, the biggest surprise. Well, for me, there were a lot. I get surprised all the time by new books. But the one I think that shocked me the most was this one, Bright Precious Days by Jay McInerney. This is his latest novel, still starring his married couple as they make their way through modern-day Manhattan and look back wistfully on the 80s. It surprised me how good it was, and it made me think twice about McInerney. There are stretches in this book that would do credit to just about any practitioner of fiction working today. There are set pieces that... There's very sharp, very smart writing in here. There's also the lazy writing and the self-referential writing that made me hate him in the 80s and chomp the bit to rip him to shreds in public. But like, for instance, with Bright Lights, Big City, when I wrote a wonderful scathing review that included the phrase, thin swipe of tripe. And my editor at the time took it out. And I said, Jack, are you crazy? That's a great line. But what are you going to do? Editors. But this one was brilliant and also verging on wise. I don't know if the world's ready for a wise Jay McInerney, but I look forward to it. If he grows into his talent, that would be great. Let's see here. Question number 7. Favorite new or new to you author? The two that I have in mind are both self-published. So if you like the sound of them, when you look them up, buy them. Because this is not an institutionally backed thing. These authors need you. Let's see. The first one is Very Like a Queen, which I don't appear to have a picture of it here. It's Very Like a Queen by Martin Lake. I'll leave the descriptions all down below. It's a Tudor historical novel about a woman named Alice Petherton, who is the mistress to King Henry VIII, and is navigating the snake pit of Henry's court, and it is wonderful. Stands out from the hugely overcrowded ranks of Tudor historical fiction. Just amazing. If you see it, if you look it up and you're at least bit inclined for Tudor historical fiction, this is a winner. And the money goes straight to the author, so do the author a favor. And the other one is something you might have seen on Bitten by a Radioactive Book back when it was still a channel. Why are these people stopping booktubing? Is it me? Do I smell? And it's this, Toru, Wayfarer Returns, by Stephanie Sorensen, a sort of steampunk 19th century Japan that's just amazing. Just a feat of imagination and joyous storytelling. And then we hit a rough patch here in the tag. Question number 8 is newest fictional crush. And BookTube, it's getting to be time when we stop talking about books that way. It's a little time wasting, but I don't have a latest fictional crush or any other kind of fictional crush. Question number 9, newest favorite character. this is fiction, of course. You're talking about fiction here, and a favorite character. Ooh, you're my favorite. Ooh, I want to sit at your table. Well done characters, well conceived characters. Yes, I've read plenty of them. Favorite? Question number 10. Book that made you cry. I know some of you are susceptible to this, but books don't make me cry, so none. Question number 11. Book that made you happy. Like these were, pills. Do you take the red one? Do you take the green one? All books make me happy, even the crappy ones. Happy to have my eyes. Happy to have the freedom to read what I want. Happy to books to be cheap. All books make me happy. None in particular. Even Meg stands shoulder to shoulder with the latest self-published religious crackpot memoir. I dig into them all with joy. But number 12, we start to reclaim ground. The most beautiful book that you have this year, and I've shown it to you already, but I'd love the chance to show it again. It's The Essex Serpent. Somebody just pulled out all the stops for that cover. It says florid. And then question number 13, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And I know it's sententious, but the first response that came to my mind is all of them. But by that I mean all of the major works that are coming out. There are a dozen major books coming out on World War II and World War I. There are probably 24 major biographies that still have to come out in 2016. There are major works of fiction by big authors that if you're in books, you have to read them. I'll do it anyway. I would like to do it, but I will need to read them by the end of the year. There's no way that I can get to New Year's Day and say, well, yeah, I'm still working on that, gigantic Alan Moore novel. No, that all has to be done by the end of the year, because 2017 will have its own tsunami of books. So, quite a few. And question number 14, favorite BookTube community member? And I didn't know what to make of this. We're not calling us BookTubers anymore? Or is it community member? What is that, a coder? Is that the guy, the security at the door? Is that the groundskeeper? Is this BookTubers? Is that what we are, or are we BookTube community members? Are there members of the BookTube community who don't? Anyway, I've ranted enough for one day. What's left is to tag, and I want to tag a bunch of people. I want to tag Miranda Hayes and Elizabeth Schubert, who just started the channel, so welcome to BookTube. I want to tag Jack the Bibliophile, and I want to tag JR Sings and Reads, and see what what the shape of your reading year has been so far in 2016. So that's it. That's the mid-year Bookish Freakout tag. Thank you, BookTube.